From Empress Dowager Feng's favorite male companion, Li Yi, to his brother Li Fu, who held an official position in the court, both were unjustly implicated in a legal case without any valid reason. Later, Emperor Xianwen, to Obahong, handed down a severe punishment, and both were executed. Meanwhile, the accuser, Li Xian, originally guilty of accepting bribes, was exonerated due to his report against Li Yi and Li Fu. Not long after, Li Xian was even promoted by Emperor Xianwen from a provincial governor to the position of Minister of State, participating in national decision-making. This made the already grieving Empress Dowager Feng even more unable to let go. The relationship between Emperor Xianwen and his mother, Empress Dowager Feng, hit rock bottom. On August 21, 471 AD, Emperor Xianwen issued an edict to pass the throne to the crown prince, to Obahong. However, the court officials submitted a petition stating that the new emperor, to Obahong, was too young to handle state affairs. They requested that Emperor Xianwen continue to personally manage the government and proposed bestowing upon him the honorary title of Taisheng Huangdi, retired emperor, distinguishing him from figures like the father of Emperor Gaozu of Han, who held the title Taisheng Huang without actually ruling the empire. On August 23, Emperor Xianwen moved to the modestly furnished Chongguang Palace. The ministers continued to report all state affairs to him. As Taisheng Huangdi, retired emperor, he remained in control of the government and was still the supreme ruler of Northern Wei. Ever since the Northern Wei moved its capital to Pingqing and took control of the Central Plains, the Ruren, a branch that had earlier split from the Tuoba Xianbei, rose rapidly in power. The Ruren frequently harassed and plundered the northern borders of Northern Wei, becoming a major concern at the empire's rear as it sought to advance into the Central Plains. Northern Wei had to adopt a policy of expedition against the Ruren in order to eliminate the threat from the north, unify the regions north and south of the desert, and seize the wealth of other nomadic tribes on the steppe. In February of the year 472, the Taisheng Huangdi, retired emperor, Xianwen donned military attire and left the capital, leading his generals in repelling an attack by the invading Ruren tribes in the northern outskirts. In November, Taisheng Huangdi to Obahong personally led his generals and once again dealt a major defeat to the Ruren north of the Yin Mountains, forcing them to retreat beyond the Gobi Desert. The Ruren tribes withdrew several thousand li. The Tuoba Xianbei tribe originated from a remote frontier region and fully retained their former nomadic way of life and cultural customs. Following closely in the footsteps of Northern Wei's founding emperor, Tuoba Gui, and his policy of Sinicization, Emperor Xianwen issued an edict mandating that all those engaged in commerce, crafts, and entertainment be redirected to farming. The decree also prohibited the indiscriminate slaughter of draft animals in order to protect agricultural production. Local officials who practiced self-discipline and served the public were promoted, while those who were greedy and cruel faced strict punishment. In June of the year 474, following the administrative practices of Han Chinese regimes, Emperor Xianwen once again issued an order: all legal cases were to be handled according to the law, based on facts, and punishments were to be applied with caution. On July 20, 476, without any warning, Tuobahong died under mysterious circumstances at the young age of 23, after the death of Emperor Xianwen. Tuobahong, the 10-year-old crown prince Tuobahong ascended the throne as the 7th emperor of the Northern Wei dynasty. The 34-year-old Empress Dowager Feng was honored with the title of Grand Empress Dowager. 9 years later, with age came greater maturity, whether in life experience, knowledge, bearing, or political acumen, she had grown significantly. As Grand Empress Dowager Feng once again took charge of state affairs, she faced a group of senior ministers and new challenges with more confidence than ever before. The late Emperor Xianwen was overly lenient, often prioritizing moral instruction over legal punishment when dealing with offenses by the people. After his death, the political situation grew unstable, and corruption and crime, once curbed, began to resurface frequently, posing a potential threat to Northern Wei's rule. To ensure long-term stability and consolidate her own power, Grand Empress Dowager Feng wielded both kindness and authority, fully displaying her exceptional political wisdom, capability, and unreserved expressions of loyalty, love, and enmity. First, Grand Empress Dowager Feng had Li Xian, the one who had falsely accused her lover Li, executed, thus avenging his death. Corrupt and lawbreaking officials were either exiled to remote border regions or sentenced to death. In order to eliminate hidden threats, she showed no leniency even toward royal relatives and noble elites. Her iron-fisted methods not only quelled the social unrest caused by the transfer of power, but also established her own image as a figure of authority and dignity for those officials who clearly had no political ambitions. Grand Empress Dowager Feng sought to soothe and win them over. One such official was Lu Ti, a trusted confidant of Emperor Xianwen and a palace guard. He had suspected that Emperor Xianwen, Tuoba Hong, had been murdered and had died violently, angrily saying, "When a sage ruler passes, what use is it to live?" He drew his saber and attempted to commit suicide, nearly dying. Grand Empress Dowager Feng not only refrained from blaming him but also issued an edict to praise his loyalty and integrity. Many discontented officials were moved by her actions, which greatly alleviated the underlying instability in the court during the power transition. Grand Empress Dowager Feng had no regard for propriety in her private life. After losing Li, many strong and handsome men became her new favorites. Among them, those with talent were appointed to important positions, becoming her trusted confidants. These men often became her key political allies and supporters. Wang Rui, a native of Taiyuan, inherited his father's profession from a young age and was skilled in astronomy and divination. Due to his handsome appearance, he became favored by Empress Dowager Feng, who appointed him as a Sanqi Chongshi, a title for imperial attendants, Minister of Personnel, and granted him the title of Duke of Taiyuan. Wang Rui had once bravely driven away a fierce tiger to protect Empress Dowager Feng and Emperor Xiaowen, which earned him even greater favor and trust. Li Chong, a man from Longxi, gradually caught the attention of Empress Dowager Feng due to his remarkable demeanor and handsome appearance, eventually becoming her lover. Empress Dowager Feng often gifted him precious treasures and imperial possessions, which transformed the once impoverished Li Chong into a wealthy man. He performed his duties diligently, and many of Empress Dowager Feng's reforms were planned with his involvement. After her death, Li Chong remained loyal and devoted to Emperor Xiaowen, serving him with intelligence and attention to detail. Even foreign envoys, such as Lu Zuan, the general of cavalry from the southern Qi, who made several diplomatic missions to northern Wei, are said to have also received favor from Empress Dowager Feng. Empress Dowager Feng also took talented eunuchs into her confidence, using them to serve in the palace. These eunuchs, often in close proximity to the emperor and consorts, acted as her eyes and ears, ensuring that she was well informed of all the secrets within the palace. While the eunuchs were favored and trusted by Empress Dowager Feng, they never dared to abuse their power or coerce the ministers and concubines in the palace. Empress Dowager Feng was strict and shrewd, never indulging even those she favored. Her attendants, even if they committed only the slightest mistake, were often punished with lashes on her orders. However, Empress Dowager Feng was naturally cheerful and magnanimous, never holding grudges. Afterward, she treated them as she had before, which led to the saying, "Everyone is motivated by self-interest," and thus, they all remained loyal to her. In 477, a political faction loyal to Empress Dowager Feng was formed, consisting of Tuoba clan nobles, Han Chinese scholars, court officials, and eunuchs from the inner palace, all of whom were capable and virtuous. With her extensive political experience and abilities, Empress Dowager Feng was now able to pursue her ambitions. She began implementing a series of significant reforms in social customs, politics, and the economy, consciously promoting Sinicization and launching a cultural movement aimed at transforming the customs of the Tuoba Xianbei people. In December of 483, Empress Dowager Feng, following the traditional Chinese cultural belief of no marriage within the same surname, issued an edict prohibiting marriages within the same family or clan, as well as forbidding men from marrying women with the same surname. This was because sharing the same surname often indicated a shared ancestry, and such marriages could lead to inbreeding. As humans are higher beings, inbreeding could result in various unforeseen negative consequences for future generations. In the early years of Northern Wei, it was a nomadic tribal confederation, and the rulers engaged in plunder and warfare as their main activity. The leaders and various levels of officials derived their income from war spoils. After Tuoba the founding emperor of the Northern Wei dynasty, defeated the later Yan and entered the Central Plains, he moved the capital to Pingcheng, ascended the throne, and officially named the country Dawei, known historically as Northern Wei. Tuoba adopted the Han system, improving the official administrative structure. However, officials at all levels did not receive salaries. After fulfilling the court's tax and labor obligations, they were allowed to seek sources of income in the areas they governed. This opened the door for local officials to extort the common people and for court officials to engage in corruption, which led to heightened social conflicts and a looming crisis in governance. In response to this harsh reality, under the leadership of Empress Dowager Feng, the banless system was implemented. This system involved levying a fixed tax per household to serve as the source of official salaries. Officials at all levels, both inside and outside the court, were assigned salaries based on their rank. Once the salaries were determined, any official caught embezzling even a small amount would be put to death. Trusted envoys were dispatched to visit various regions to inspect the implementation of these policies. The implementation of the new law faced opposition from some members of the Northern Wei royal family and the powerful elite. For those who dared to defy the law, Empress Dowager Feng showed no mercy. Over 40 royal relatives, high-ranking officials, and local officials were executed. This action sent shockwaves through the court and society, resulting in a noticeable improvement in the governance of Northern Wei.